we started by talking about destination plastic surgery, but this isn't about somebody going to Mexico to save money. This is quite the reverse, Dr. Raban.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool, very important to make this clear distinction. The bottom line is that an individual sits in their home, and at some juncture in time, he or she decides, I want to do something. I want to change. I want to make a move in the right direction through the avenue of cosmetic or aesthetic surgery. The next question they need to do is figure out where the hell they're going to do it. And you have three options. You have option number one, stay locally. Option number two, go internationally or abroad or some what traditionally means destination medicine, which is like go to Costa Rica and save some money. And then option number three, which is what Crystal, my patient who's on the line, did, is actually do the homework and incur the extra inconvenience, but go wherever you feel the best is because you deserve it. And so, Crystal, thank you so much for being on. Crystal's a patient of mine that we did a mommy makeover on, that we did together on Extra. And she's superb and wonderful and has been kind enough to join us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So, Crystal, what I want to really do is let's talk about if you can help our listeners, because some people are really research savvy and some people don't even have the foggiest what to do or where to begin. So if you could just imagine you were trying to coach a woman in Wisconsin, in some town, like, I want to have a mommy makeover, but I don't even know where to begin. And I have this funny feeling there isn't really the best people out here. So take us through that process for us.
Okay. Well, so first of all, I have to touch base on the fact that I had gained weight. I'd made all these mistakes that had gotten me to the point of my body being where it was that made me extremely unhappy. And I put in all the work. I lost the 90 pounds, and then I was still at a point where I couldn't fix what I had done to my body. And so,
meaning that you had excess skin, and let's speak specifically for people who don't know. So you had excess skin in your abdomen, and additionally your breasts had lost a lot of volume, and on top of that, they started to sort of sag and point downwards, right?
Right. And no matter what I did, I couldn't fix that. And so to me, it was simply that the only step for me to take was that I had to have surgery to fix that. And because of all the mistakes I'd made, I wasn't going to make the same mistake when it came to fixing it. I wasn't going to go to somebody who didn't care about my body as much as I did, or who, did the factory in and out surgeries. And so I researched all over Utah. I even went to a couple consultations, and I wasn't impressed. The biggest thing was the galleries that you could look at. The scars were jagged. The breasts were lopsided, and I just thought, I don't want that. I'll take what I have over that.
So you went, I'm going to interrupt you just a little because I think that you just hit on such a great topic, which is, so basically what you did, which is what I think most people in America will do, which is you made the decision, you did your homework. Obviously, you're going to go to your local area, especially when you're in a reasonably or close to a reasonable metropolitan city. And what you did is you went and you met these doctors, and I'm going to ask you to elaborate just a little bit more.
She said factory, that kind of sent the antenna up.
Yeah. So, and the bottom line, and I'm going to say the general, and then you talked about the specifics, something didn't feel right or resonate. And you decided that if it doesn't feel right, I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to be like, well,
exactly.
I'm here. This is what it is. It's Utah. It's good enough, whatever. So tell me in a little bit more detail so that people, because sometimes people have that gut feeling and they don't know how to put their finger on it. So you touched on, obviously, the gallery. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if you go on to a doctor who's a cosmetic surgeon or a plastic surgeon and you don't like the overwhelming majority of his work, I mean, that's a huge red flag. But what else were some of the other things that didn't resonate with you that kind of forced you to look outside the box?
Well, first of all, they should have their best pictures on their gallery. And if they do, then I wasn't impressed. And when you talk to the doctors, it's kind of like they're giving you the same answers they're giving everyone else. This is what you do. This is why. Yeah, sure, you're a candidate. I would do this. This is generally what I do. There wasn't anything specific to me or what I needed, but it was just what they told everyone that came in. I mean, Utah is a pretty high plastic surgery state,
It is.
but it's also just in and out. People are competing price wise, and it's kind of like it doesn't matter what you get because people are going to go locally. And to me, I thought, well, just because I live here doesn't mean I should have to settle for what's here.
Yeah.
So I actually went out and I researched New York, I researched Florida, I researched California, Texas, and honestly, the only gallery I was impressed with was yours. You focused on even a gallery on the scars and how they look, and they were straight, and you took pride in the way the breasts were even and they looked natural. And I thought, you know what, that's what I want, is someone who actually cares about the human body, not to make it Barbie or to make it over exaggerated, but to make it look aesthetically like it should, like you didn't even have surgery.
So you went to the galleries, and so tell somebody, so take somebody through the process of this researching, because what you just said is like music to my ears. It makes me warm and happy inside, which is
He's smiling. I'm looking right at him.
because I'm the type of person, if I want to buy a toaster, I mean, God help me, I'm going to be on there.
Consumer Reports.
I'm going to kill myself over a damn toaster, let alone rearrange my body under a knife. So when you went online, I assume that's what you did. Tell me your process. Tell me what did you do?
What did you Google?
I just Googled best plastic surgeons in the United States.
Okay.
And just went to each of those sites, and yours was actually one of the top ones. And, there were some other surgeons that did have good galleries, but nothing that resonated with me personally.
And let's just pretend there's a woman in her car. Gallery is the before and afters. It's where
Yes.
you go and find their
It is.
work. Okay.
Right.
And I didn't just look at the breast or the stomach. I looked at the nose jobs that were being done by this doctor. I looked at everything on the gallery to see if they took pride in their work, if they took the time to do it right, or if it was just whatever they wanted to put out there to get the taste.
That's a really good. That's so funny you should say that. So all the time I get phone calls from people around the country that are acquaintances or whatever, and they'll ask me to vet other surgeons, and they'll say, "Hey, so and so wants to go to this guy. What do you think?" And obviously, I don't know this guy. I don't know who this guy is. And even though they're going there, say for example, for a breast dog, the first thing I do is I go to their nose gallery, and I look at their rhinoplasty. And the reason is exactly what you said, because the rhinoplasty and or some other surgeries really, really tap into or elucidate that surgeon's skill set in terms of finesse. And so if a surgeon is outstanding, he or she should be outstanding in anything they produce. So if you are mediocre at rhinoplasty and think you're excellent at breast, in my opinion, my humble opinion, you shouldn't be doing noses. You should only do things. I happen to do everything. Not because I think I'm amazing, but I feel like the work I produce, I feel proud of the work that I produce. There are things that I don't do because I don't think I'm interested, or I feel like I give it 110 because it's not in my wheelhouse. So I don't do everything that I don't want to do. But anything I put out there, I hope that if you go on there, like you said, you're coming in for a mommy makeover and you go look at, say, my noses, you're like, wow, okay, these look pretty good to me. So that's very, very good advice. Very good advice.
And let me ask, do you actually have children? Because you kept referencing losing weight and how you let your body get to a certain point. Do you have children?
I do. I have an 8-year-old daughter.
Okay, so the mommy makeover doesn't just mean like a year after you have the kid. It could mean like, yeah.
No, so mommy makeover in general is just kind of a catch-all phrase that's got caught attention. It means that an individual woman, usually either from having children and or weight loss and or both, as in Crystal's case, has a cluster of changes in her body that need the work of a tummy tuck, liposuction, breast lift, and breast dog. That cluster together or variation of is considered a mommy makeover, as it's just a general term. Now, whether you got there from having 4 kids, having lost 100 pounds, or both is really contingent on the person. In Crystal's case, she did a little of both.
1 kid and 90 pounds is a lot of changes, I'm suspecting.
Crystal, did you spend time, because people put a lot of emphasis. So I agree with you 100%. Gallery, it sounds like, was a huge ding, 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 ding. What did you do in terms of reading what people had to say and so to speak, filtering through the reviews? Because, they can be really helpful, can be really misleading. What was your experience from an out of town standpoint?
Okay, now this I actually thought of as we were talking about it. I was thinking back as to whether I even looked at reviews, and I didn't. People would come up to me in Utah and say, "Oh, my wife had her breasts done by this doctor. It was great," or "Oh, this person did a tummy tuck. It was great." And then I'd go research those doctors, and I wasn't impressed by the gallery. And so, in that sense, I thought, well, I'm not looking at their opinions because that's their opinion. I'm looking at my own personal opinion and what I see from what the doctors are putting out there as their best work, and whether that to me is acceptable as what best work could be.
So once you identified me, for example, because it sounds like you're very aesthetic, which am I.
Visual.
I'm very visual as well. Did you then go in to look at reviews? What if you went to a doctor, say me, and then you went on there and the reviews were like, he's got terrible bedside manner. He's very rude to patients. The staff is awful.
He wears weird shoes.
He wears cool Nikes. What did you do that afterwards, or were you just sold on visual?
I did. That's true. I did with you. So after I looked at your gallery, and I was kind of like, okay, this is the doctor I want to go fly to California and talk to. You're the only one I flew out of state to see. And I did read some reviews, and people said, mostly they said, he's going to tell you how it is. He's going to tell you what you don't want to hear or what you do want to hear, but it's going to be an honest answer. And I thought, you know what, that's what I want. I don't want a doctor who wants a paycheck. I want a doctor who's going to tell me the truth as to what I need and what's best for my body.
And when you came, what did I tell you?
That exact thing. I went in there and I'm like, oh, we just need to do this. And you're like, no, we need to do this and this. And if you want the body you want, this is what it has to be. And I appreciated that. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, my goal, as it should be for every physician, is truly, and not just lip service, to treat each and individual patient and just wonder, if this was my wife, if this was my sister, if this was my mom, what would I do? So, I think a lot of people do. I'm just going to make a little comment and then we'll move for the next issue. But a lot of people do spend a lot of time looking at reviews, and they can be incredibly helpful or incredibly misleading. The problem with
I think some of them are fake.
Not some, a lot.
I feel that way when I read them.
And so what happens is, I think for people who are listening and saying, okay, well, I look at the gallery and I find 3 guys that have, to me, what seems like good results. Crystal, I'll tell you, you're a very critical observer, so you were able to discern purely based on visual. But for a lot of patients, they look at the outcomes, they're like, they all look pretty good. And those are people that are like, it's good enough. So then they go to the next step, which is they look at reviews. And the problem with reviews, and what I would look for as a physician, is consistency in description. What does that mean? To me, it doesn't really matter if every review says, oh my God, I went and saw Dr. Raban. I had a breast aug. I love my breast. He's amazing. Oh my God, I had a tummy tuck. I love my results. Dr. Raban is amazing. Oh my God, that's not helpful. What's helpful is critical analysis that dissects things that only a person who really went through the experience would know, and consistency. So for example, you touched on it. My personality is fairly direct, hence plastic surgery uncensored. I'm a very direct person.
I wouldn't say fairly. I'd say extremely.
Okay. So Monique will say, because Monique and I had a similar experience I did a consult for her. So I'm direct. That's good. That's bad. That's horrible. I like it. I dislike it. It's consistent, it's reproducible, and it tells you that the reviews are authentic, because it's not saying he walks on water, my results are amazing. He says, I went and saw him and he told me the truth and it bothered me, it didn't bother me, whatever. So what you want to look for, as if you were working in the FBI, is you want to look for signs that these individuals are real. It isn't the staff writing the reviews. It isn't useless information. The fact that the review says, oh my God, I had to wait in the office an hour, that's irrelevant. What matters is, was the guy's work outstanding? Was he a decent human being? And did he make you feel safe? So
exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the other thing to touch on as far as reviews go is you have to consider people's perspectives as to what they're saying in the review. Like for me, for instance, I've had a weight issue my whole life. And so to me, it was very important to have people talk about why they were doing it versus some people who are like, well, I just want big boobs, but I've been skinny my whole life. They're getting it done for a totally different reason than I'm getting it done, where I want to have a body I can finally be proud of and be comfortable in, versus this person who just wants big boobs but has always been comfortable in their body.
I
You
think
know,
that's
to
a very
them,
good
they
point.
they might not care about if their boobs are a little lopsided, but to me, I'm like, I've never had the perfection that person might have had, so this is my chance to do it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
that's. I think it's a very good point. Is that you want to read the reviews from your vantage point, not perhaps that person's vantage point. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask the obvious, which is, okay, great, you went out of town. I want to know, and we want to know the truth. What were the inconveniences associated with traveling out of your local area? Because at the end of the day, maybe for you it was worthy exchange, which is you have the body you wanted, but other people want to know, well, there's extra cost, there's extra time, travel, this, that, the other. So
By myself. I'm in a place where I don't have my family
yeah,
here.
we're going to talk about all that. So hang tight, and we'll get back to you in just a little bit, okay?
Okay.
And we're back on Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban. We're talking to our guest, Crystal, about Destination Plastic Surgery. She came all the way from Utah after looking at your gallery and made the decision that you were the guy. Now we need to find out what that actually entailed logistically.
Yes.
Logistics are important.
So, Crystal, will you do me a favor? And, the purpose of this is to be brutally honest, so to speak. So no sugarcoating. You traveled out of state, and I'd like you to kind of share. You made a decision, and that decision was, and I think it's pretty obvious since we aired your particular reveal on Extra, that you looked amazing, and I'm assuming that the exchange of the inconvenience was worth it. But what are the exchanges? So what is it that you had to do extra as a result of traveling out of town?
Well, there's the expense, obviously, but also I'm a single mom, so it was inconvenient for me to have to find someone to watch my child while I was gone, or find a time to fit that in when she was gone, or even I knew nobody in California. So when I was there post-surgery for 2 weeks, I had to have people who were willing to come out there and to help me out while I'm recovering. And those are probably the biggest inconveniences, but luckily and
they're pretty
happily
big.
They worked out. They are big.
Yeah, and so what you're underscoring, which is very important for anyone listening in Detroit or Michigan, et cetera, is that if you want to do this, which I think if you get the results you want will be well worth it, you must have support, because you're now outside of your element. You're alone. You need help at home for what you've left behind, and you need help in your new location with recovery. And so I think you want to make sure that when you decide to do this, that you have someone or some people by your side, because that's going to be super crucial.
Do you stay in a hotel?
Almost definitely. No, I stayed in an Airbnb because I wanted to be comfortable and feel like I was at
Had
home.
a kitchen and
So, Crystal,
exactly.
Can you tell us a little bit about the costs? So the costs, what are the extra costs that you think you incurred as a result of traveling out of town? So what are they?
Well, I had to fly there several times, pre and post. So that was incurred airline prices, Airbnb cost. Anyone who helped me out, I paid for them to fly out there and help me. There was no cost for someone to watch my child because it was like my mother. So
Right.
they obviously are just going to do it. And then food and...
Well, and then, of course, I'm assuming that the cost, let's say we were the same price or probably more expensive than the local doctors.
More expensive.
So there was
but
that cost.
To me, I don't think you can really put a price on having the body you want.
Right. So I think
You
what you're saying is now, so I'm just trying to make general understandings for people. It's like, if you're going to do this, then you need to A, have the support, and B, you need to save the money. You need to save the finances. You want that beautiful
Exactly.
Mercedes in your driveway. Then take a year, work hard, set money aside, and then anything is doable. But the key is you want to make sure that you've planned accordingly so that you too can have, now you're how long out from surgery?
Almost a year. It'll be a year and 2 months.
And do you look just amazing?
Yeah, I love it. I'm so, I used to cringe when people would touch my waist. Now I don't even think about it.
What was
I
the most
can wear whatever I
exciting?
want.
Yeah, that had to be it. I was going to say, what was the most exciting like reveal? Like the first time you put on a bathing suit? Walk me through that.
It must have been on Extra because she made the reveal on Extra. It was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
people were freaking out. Her transformation. Maybe we'll put the link up later.
That'd
but
be
I mean,
great.
her transformation was nothing shy of extraordinary.
Yeah, it was the flat stomach. I'd never in my entire life had a flat stomach. And I pretty much cried. The first time the swelling was down and I put on my underwear and they didn't roll down because of my stomach. They just stayed there and I could see in my belly button and I was like, this is a dream come true. I can't believe that this is even me. You know, it was surreal a little.
Well, we're happy for you. You deserve it. You're a sweetheart, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be a part of this podcast and help by sharing of your story and enlightening and hopefully educating someone and sort of, if you will, passing the plastic surgery torch forward.
Thank you. I'm happy to have been here, and I appreciate you, Dr. Raban. You're a great doctor, honest, and you'd be the best one I'd recommend for anyone. So.
Appreciate it, honey. Thank you so much, sweetheart.
What a nice way to wrap it up. I was going to
I
wrap
would
it
say
up
just-
before
I would
she
just-
gave
I
you
would
the
just
love.
I would just end on
I'm
that.
done.
Don't say anything.
Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Listen for the next episode with Dr. Roddy Raban.